Tess pushed through the club's back door and it slammed shut behind her, cutting off the bass mid-beat. The sudden quiet rang in her ears. Cold air hit her lungs. She bent over, hands on her knees, laughing under her breath as she tried to breathe again. Too many songs. Too much heat. Too many bodies. Her breath fogged in front of her. Snow drifted down in lazy flakes, melting on the pavement and turning the alley slick and black. Okay, 1 minute, then back inside, she told herself. The door opened again. She glanced over her shoulder. A man stepped out, tall, broad shoulders filling the doorway light. She almost looked away. Then she froze. She knew that face. Jordan McAllister. She'd seen him on the news 3 nights ago shaking hands with the mayor after the charity drive. Philanthropist donates $1 million to women's shelters. They'd shown his picture for 2 days straight. He wasn't alone. He dragged a woman behind him. Not guiding. Dragging. The woman stumbled in high heels, crying hard enough her breath hitched. Mascara streaked down her cheeks. Tess straightened slowly, her heart beating harder. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Jordan shoved the woman against the brick wall. Her head struck with a dull crack. "Who else did you tell about the shipment?" Jordan demanded. Tess's stomach dropped. The woman shook her head frantically. "No one. I swear, Jordan, no one." His fist hit her. The sound was sickening, heavy, solid, not a slap. Tess's hand flew to her mouth. "Don't make a sound. Not one sound," she told herself. Her pulse roared in her ears. Jordan yelled, "Tell me who knows." "I told Frank Little the shipment was coming on Tuesday," she sobbed. Tess's fingers fumbled into her purse. She pulled out her phone and crouched into the shadow of a recessed doorway. The screen lit her face, and she quickly turned the brightness down, her hands shaking so badly she almost dropped it. She hit record. Without proof, no one would believe her. A car turned into the alley. Headlights flooded the brick walls. Relief surged through her. Thank God. Someone else is here. But Jordan didn't step away. He didn't even look nervous. 2 men in dark coats got out. Her relief vanished. Jordan said, "Frank, Little knows the shipment is coming on Tuesday. Make sure he doesn't make it to the police." Both men nodded. The woman sobbed, "Please." Jordan pulled a gun from inside his coat. Tess stopped breathing. He raised it to the woman's forehead. Her brain refused to understand what she was seeing. The gun was almost silent except for a soft click. The woman's body fell with a thump to the ground. Blood pooled around her. A scream could be heard down the alley. Tess covered her mouth, knowing she'd betrayed herself. All 3 men looked up. Silence. "Who's there?" Jordan demanded. Tess grabbed her phone and ran. Her purse jerked off her shoulder and hit the ground behind her, but she didn't stop. Footsteps exploded after her. "Get her!" Jordan yelled. She ran blindly toward the tree line beyond the last streetlight, toward the mountains. Her lungs burned and shoes slid on the wet pavement. As the gap widened between them, she felt a sharp sting hit her arm. Adrenaline moved her forward. Her arm was heavy and wet. A shout came from behind her. "Wallet! I got her wallet!" Her blood turned to ice. "Tess Owens!" the man yelled. "I've got your driver's license. I know where you live. You're dead if you show that video to anyone." She ran harder. Jordan yelled, "Tell Butch to bring the dogs!" Her breath tore in and out of her lungs, ragged and loud in her own ears. A stream cut through the trees ahead like a dark ribbon against the snow. Water. Dogs couldn't track through water. She stumbled down the bank and stepped in. The shock nearly dropped her to her knees. Half-frozen water flooded over her boots, seeping through leather and socks, swallowing her feet in knives of cold. She bit back a cry and kept moving, forcing herself upstream 1 step at a time, higher, farther, until time was lost. Her arm throbbed. Warmth slid down to her wrist. Her legs trembled. The adrenaline that carried her was thinning, draining out of her with every step. She couldn't keep the pace. She dragged herself out of the stream. The mountain tilted beneath her. She made it 3 unsteady steps before collapsing beneath a pine, snow cushioning the fall. Darkness swallowed her. Tess woke to a hand clamped over her mouth. She jerked awake, terror hitting before memory did. The trees, the stream, the gunshot. A man loomed over her, broad and solid, one knee planted in the snow beside her hip. His hand placed firmly over her mouth. His grip was unyielding. She struggled, but it was useless. He was built like he hauled logs for a living. A dark beard shadowed the lower half of his face. A black knit cap pulled low over the upper. Only his eyes were fully visible, dark, sharp, assessing. "Is that for you?" he asked quietly, voice rough as gravel. He eased his hand just enough for her to speak. "What?" Her voice cracked. "Listen carefully," he said, leaning closer. "I'll ask once more, then I walk away. Is that for you?" In the distance, faint but distinct, dogs. Her pulse spiked. He read the answer in her face before she could form it. His jaw tightened. "Who?" "Jordan McAllister," she whispered. "I can explain." His eyes didn't soften. They hardened. "You work for him?" he asked. "No," she said. The dog sounded closer now. Or maybe that was her imagination. A muscle ticked in his jaw. "I'm going to regret this." He slid one arm behind her back and another under her knees, lifting her as if she weighed nothing. Pain flared through her arm, and she sucked in a breath. "You ran from town?" he asked, already moving. "Yes. All the way up here?" She nodded weakly. 6 miles, he muttered. "In this? I can walk." "No, you can't." His tone left no room for argument. "You've been shot. You're running on fumes." He stepped back into the stream without hesitation, boots breaking through thin ice. The water surged around them. "Are you going to hurt me?" she asked, unable to stop herself. A short breath of disbelief escaped him. Not quite a laugh. "If I wanted you dead, I'd have left you where you fell." He shifted her weight easily. "Or handed you back." The implications settled cold in her stomach. "Where are the dogs?" she asked. "I can't hear them any longer." "Heading downhill?" He moved steadily upstream. "They'll follow the trail you left on the road. Water does the rest." She let out a shaky breath. "Thank you." He didn't answer. After several minutes, he climbed out of the stream and cut through thicker trees. A faint glow flickered ahead through the branches. A cabin came into view, tucked deep against the mountainside. Smoke curled from the chimney into the night sky. Heat hit her the moment he pushed the door open. Not just warmer, alive. Wood smoke, something savory, and the steady crackle of a fire wrapped around her frozen skin. He shut the door behind them and slid a heavy lock into place before he set her on a worn couch near the stove. "Don't move," he said. He pulled off his hat and shrugged out of his coat. Dark hair flattened from the knit cap fell across his forehead. Without the shadows and snow between them, she could finally see him clearly. Early 30s maybe, strong jaw, a few days beard, and sharp hazel eyes that didn't relax just because they were indoors. The cabin was small, but not primitive. One room opened into a compact kitchen. A narrow hallway led to a single bedroom. Against one wall sat a full computer setup, multiple monitors, wires, a powered tower humming quietly. Not a survivalist hideaway, something else. He crouched in front of her and carefully rolled up her sleeve. The bleeding had slowed, but hadn't stopped. Blood soaked the fabric and dried against her skin. "Bullet grazed you," he said. "You're lucky." "I don't feel lucky." "You will." He disappeared into a cabinet and returned with a metal kit, scissors, gauze, and a bottle of clear liquid. She tensed. "What are you doing? Keeping you from infection?" He met her eyes once. "This is going to hurt." She bit down on her lip as he cleaned the wound. Fire shot up her arm, hot and blinding, and her vision swam. His grip stayed firm and steady, one hand bracing her elbow so she couldn't jerk away. "Stay with me," he said calmly. "Almost done." He worked quickly, stitching with practiced movements. "You've done this before," she managed through clenched teeth. "Yes." Not a story or an explanation, just yes. When he finally tied off the stitch and wrapped clean gauze around her arm, he sat back slightly, studying her face instead of the wound. "Start talking," he said. She swallowed. Her throat felt scraped raw from cold air and fear. "I was behind the club," she said. "I saw Jordan McAllister arguing with a woman. He was asking about a shipment. 2 other men showed up. Then he shot her." His expression didn't change, but his eyes sharpened. "You're sure?" "I watched her fall." Silence stretched between them, filled only by the low simmer from the pot on the stove. He stood, grabbed a bowl, and ladled soup into it, then handed it to her. "Eat." Her hands shook as she took it. The warmth hurt almost as much as the cold had. After a moment, he asked, "Do you have proof?" Her stomach tightened. The phone, still in her pocket. If he worked for Jordan... "No," she said, forcing the word out evenly. His gaze held hers a second longer than comfortable. He didn't say he believed her. He didn't say he didn't. "People don't chase witnesses through the mountains in the middle of the night," he said quietly, "unless they're afraid of something." A voice woke Tess. Low, careful. She didn't open her eyes. She stayed perfectly still. He was speaking quietly, turned away from her near the kitchen. "I have her." Her pulse spiked. A pause. "No, she says she doesn't have any evidence." Every muscle in her body went rigid beneath the blanket. Another pause. He lowered his voice even more, almost a whisper. "I'll check her clothes after she showers." Ice slid into her stomach. He listened for a long moment, jaw tight. "Don't worry," he said finally. "I'll take care of it." The call ended. The room fell silent except for the ticking of cooling metal on the stove. She forced herself to shift slightly, letting out a small groan as if surfacing from sleep. Floorboards creaked. He moved closer. "You're awake." Slowly she opened her eyes, pretending confusion. What time is it?" "Morning," he said. Gray light filtered through the window, snow still falling outside. He stood a few feet away now, watching her carefully, evaluating. She pushed herself upright, trying to look weaker than she felt. "Yeah," she said. He handed her a glass of water. "Drink." She took it, buying time. "I never thanked you." "You don't need to yet," he said. That wasn't comforting. He studied her a moment longer, then said, "Hudson." She hesitated. "Hudson?" "Hudson Bancroft." "Tess Owens," Tess said. He nodded. "I need to figure out whether I saved an innocent life, or saved one of Jordan's contacts." Her fingers tightened around the glass. "And until I know which," he added, "you're not leaving." Hudson didn't speak again until she'd finished the water. "Come here," he said, nodding toward the computer setup. "You said the woman mentioned a shipment," he said, "and a name. Frank Little." Tess nodded slowly. He pulled up a series of images, press photos, ID-style shots, surveillance stills. Faces filled the screen in rows. "Take your time," he said. "Tell me if you see her." Her pulse thudded in her ears as she leaned closer. She scanned one row, then another. Then she froze. "There," she whispered. Hudson zoomed in. The same woman, hair styled differently. Professional photo. Confident smile. The name beneath it made Tess's stomach drop. Special Agent Mara Velasquez, DEA. The air seemed to thin. She wasn't arguing about a club delivery, Tess said slowly. She was undercover. Hudson's expression hardened, something calculating shifting behind his eyes. If she was DEA, he said, then whatever shipment Jordan mentioned isn't small. And he killed a federal agent. Yes, the weight of that settled heavily between them. I need a shower, she said suddenly. I feel like I still have the river on me. He studied her for half a second. I left some clothes in the bathroom. They're big but clean. She stood carefully. Thank you. And Tess? She paused. Leave the door open a crack. If you pass out, I need to know. I won't, she said. She closed the bathroom door and locked it. Steam swallowed the small room. Hot water pounded against the tile, drowning out every other sound. For a long moment, she just stood beneath it, letting the heat sink into skin that still felt carved from ice. Then she reached for her jeans. Her fingers trembled as she pulled the phone from the pocket. She stared at it, afraid to confirm it. She turned the water hotter, louder, and pressed play. Jordan's voice, low, controlled, the click of a gun, the thud of a body hitting snow. Her stomach twisted. It was real, not a nightmare she could wake from. Hudson wanted proof, but for who? Jordan? Someone else just as dangerous? Why did he save her? For the proof she held deep in her pocket. And why the computer system? The secure databases? The satellite connection in the middle of nowhere? None of it made sense. Unless he needed the evidence as badly as Jordan did. She powered off the phone and wrapped herself in a towel, mind racing. 6 miles down the mountain. 2 more to town. If she could make it to a state highway patrol post. She looked at the clothes Hudson had laid out for her, then at her own jeans, decision made. She pulled the denim back on, shoved the phone deep into her pocket, and forced her boots onto her aching feet. Pain pierced through her arm as she pushed at the small bathroom window. It didn't budge. She gritted her teeth and shoved again. The latch snapped. A blast of icy air hit her face. Don't think. Move. She climbed halfway through, torso tipping into a snowbank while steam curled behind her from the shower. For one dizzy second, she was suspended between warmth and survival. Then, she let herself fall. Snow swallowed her with a dull thud. The impact ripped a cry from her throat as her stitches tore, warmth spreading down her sleeve. Move, she told herself. She staggered upright and plunged toward the trees, heading for the stream. The sky darkened. Clouds rolled in thick and low. Another storm was coming. She reached the water and stepped in. Arms wrapped around her waist from behind. The ground vanished. Her body smashed to the ground. She stared deep into the barrel of a gun. Her breath caught. The man holding it was familiar. The same one who had stood beside Jordan when the woman fell. The tailored suit was gone, replaced with winter gear. But the eyes were the same. Cold. Predatory. Give me the phone, he said. Tess forced air into her lungs. I lost it. He stepped closer, the barrel grazing her cheek. If you did, you'll die slow. Hand it over and I'll make it quick. His grip shifted. Just enough. Tess slapped his wrist aside and lunged. They crashed into the snow. The gun fired into the trees. The weapon slipped from his grasp. Adrenaline roared through her. She kicked. Again. Again. He rolled, reaching for something at his back. Hudson burst from the trees. He scooped up the fallen gun in one smooth motion and aimed it at the attacker. How many? Hudson demanded. No one. I came alone, the man snarled. Tess didn't lower her guard. She stood frozen, watching Hudson, waiting. Who would he choose? Hudson didn't hesitate. Hands where I can see them. The man's hand darted behind his back anyway. Another gun flashed into view. Hudson fired. The shot cracked through the trees. The man dropped. Silence. Snow drifted down between them. Hudson scanned the tree line before turning to Tess. His eyes flicked to her bleeding sleeve. His jaw tightened. "I told you not to leave the cabin. I didn't know who to trust," she said, voice shaking. His gaze shifted to the body. "Not him," he sneered. "I've got to bury the evidence until this is over." Tess nodded. He worked quickly, dragging the body off the path, covering tracks, burying evidence beneath fresh snow. Hudson placed the last bit of snow over the body and looked toward the sky. The storm will cover the rest. He stood, walking toward her. His hand slid around her waist and into her pocket, pulling out the phone. Her blood ran cold. This was the moment. And now that Hudson had the evidence, would he let her live? Hudson just stared at the phone. Then he looked at her. The disappointment in his expression cut deeper than anger would have. "So this is why they're hunting you," he stated flatly. "Is this the proof?" Tess clutched her arm, snow melting through her jeans, cold biting fast. "You can have it. Please. I don't want to die." His jaw tightened. "You're not going to die. You don't know that." "Yes," he said evenly. "I do." He turned the phone over in his hand, studying it. "Jordan already knows you have this," he continued, "and he has bought half the county." Her head snapped up. "What?" "Police, dispatch, 2 deputies, maybe more." His eyes locked onto hers. "If you run down that mountain right now, you won't make it to town." "How do you know?" she whispered. A beat of silence. "Because I've been tracking him for 6 months." The wind moved through the trees behind them. "If you want the truth," Hudson said, gesturing toward the cabin, "come inside. I'll show you who Jordan McAllister really is." He turned and walked back toward the cabin. After a brief hesitation, she followed. Inside, he locked the door, then crossed straight to the computer station. The monitors flickered to life. "You want to know how I know?" he asked. He pulled up a live camera feed. A stretch of mountain road appeared on screen. Narrow, isolated, snow-packed, but recently plowed. 3 miles down, he said. Only access road heavy enough for freight. Headlights appeared in the distance. A semi-truck crawled into view, moving slowly around the bend before disappearing beyond the camera's range. "That's the 3rd one tonight," Hudson said. "They only run after midnight. No company logos. Plates rotate every week." He switched screens. Another angle, another section of road. Then another. "You put cameras out there?" she asked. "Yes." "For who?" "For the FBI." He didn't look at her as he said it. He zoomed in on a paused frame of a truck's rear axle. "I'm not an agent," he continued. "I'm an independent contractor. Surveillance, digital forensics, long-term observation. I don't make arrests. I build cases." Her mind scrambled to catch up. "And Jordan?" Hudson leaned back slightly in his chair. "Jordan McAllister is clean on paper. Public hero. Charity boards, fundraisers, disaster relief." He opened another window. Financial charts, shell corporations, freight logs. But his name keeps circling shipments that don't exist. "What is in the shipments? Weapons?" Tess asked. "Weapons? Drugs? We're not sure. I can't get the cameras close enough to see them unload the trucks," he said. "Jordan's smart. He never appears at drop points or speaks on recorded lines." He turned toward her then, hazel eyes steady. "Until last night." Her throat went dry. "You've been watching him this whole time?" she asked. "For 6 months," Hudson said. "And you never had proof?" she asked. "None that he was involved in." The word was quiet, precise. Hudson stood and stepped closer, not threatening, but focused. I didn't know the DEA was circling him too, he said. What exactly did she say? She said shipment on Tuesday, Tess whispered. And Frank little knew. You're the only person alive who's seen Jordan pull the trigger, Hudson said. And now, you're the only person who has him on record tying himself to a shipment. That recording, he said, is the missing piece. You were brave, a survivor. Now it's time we finish this. His hand reached for hers. She looked down at him, his eyes steady, waiting. An unexpected warmth flooded through her. His gaze didn't waver. I don't need you, he added. I need what you have, but I'd prefer you alive when this ends. Why? She asked. You have spunk, and I have a feeling. She didn't want him to clarify. She had a feeling too. Her doubts vanished. She took his hand. The fire burned low. Wind pushed against the walls. Snow fell silently against the windows. The storm had thickened, swallowing the mountain in darkness. Hudson dragged a chair near the bed. He rested his forearms on his knees, gun within reach, eyes scanning the monitors one last time before dimming the lights. You should sleep, he said quietly. Tess lay beneath the blankets, stitches throbbing, adrenaline finally draining from her veins. The room felt smaller now, warmer. You're not? She asked. I'll take first watch. You've been taking watch since I got here. That's the job. She studied him in the flicker of firelight, shoulders tight, jaw set, exhaustion he refused to admit. You can lie down, she said softly. He didn't move. I don't bite. A faint corner of his mouth lifted. I'm not worried about that. Then what are you worried about? He held her gaze longer this time. Something unguarded flickered there, something he wasn't used to feeling. Complications, he said finally. You already shot a man for me, she replied. I think we're past that. Silence stretched between them. The wind howled harder, rattling the cabin. Instinctively, she shifted closer to the edge of the mattress. There's room, she said, more quietly now. Hudson stood slowly, like a man approaching a line he'd sworn not to cross. He set the gun on the nightstand within reach, kicked off his boots, lay stiffly on top of the blankets at first, keeping space between them. The heat from his body reached her anyway. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Tess turned onto her side. Hudson? Yeah. Are we going to survive this? He didn't answer immediately. Yes, he said at last. He held her gaze a beat longer. FBI extraction's set for first light. They'll land 2 miles east when the storm clears. We just have to make it until morning. She shifted closer. His breath changed. Barely. Her fingers brushed his hand. He didn't pull away. The space between them dissolved slowly, deliberately. His palm slid against hers. Warm. You're shaking, he murmured. So are you. That earned the smallest huff of breath, almost a laugh. She lifted her face. He hesitated only a second before closing the distance. His lips found hers. Soft. Testing. His hand cradled her jaw. Her fingers curled into the fabric of his shirt. Outside, the storm raged. Inside, the world narrowed, warmth and fragile. When they finally broke apart, their foreheads rested together. And then, a distant sound cut through the wind. Low, mechanical. Hudson froze. Engines. Multiple. His body shifted instantly, the softness gone. He rolled off the bed and grabbed the gun in one smooth motion. Snowmobiles, he said. Headlights flickered through the trees beyond the window. They found us. The warmth in the room evaporated. Hudson turned to Tess. Stay behind me, no matter what happens. The engines grew louder. Hudson crossed to the far wall and flipped a concealed switch near the breaker panel. A soft click echoed. What was that? Tess whispered. Insurance. He killed the interior lights and motioned toward the back of the cabin. Stay low. The engines outside cut. Silence. Hudson eased the back door open just enough for them to slip through. Snow hit Tess's face like needles. The storm had thickened, visibility collapsing to a few yards at best. He guided her into the tree line, boots sinking deep. Voices carried through the wind. Dark figures emerged from the whiteout. 4, maybe 5 men. Snowmobiles idled near the front porch, headlights slicing through the storm. Jordan's men. They moved with purpose, weapons raised, surrounding the cabin in a practiced sweep. Tess's pulse thundered in her ears. One of the men signaled. Another stepped onto the porch. The front door creaked open. Hudson's hand tightened around hers. "Wait for it," he murmured. 3 men entered. 2, 1. The cabin exploded. A deafening blast ripped through the night. Fire burst through windows in a violent gloom of orange against white. The shockwave knocked snow from the trees in heavy sheets. Tess gasped as heat brushed her face even from the tree line. Flames swallowed the structure instantly, the blast punching a column of smoke into the storm. The men who'd stayed outside were thrown backward and lay motionless. "Now," Hudson said, running toward a snowmobile tipped sideways. In a single motion, he started the mobile and pulled her behind him. Her arms wrapped around his waist just as he gunned the throttle. The machine lunged forward, carving through untouched snow. Behind them, flames consumed the cabin. Snow lashed her face as they climbed, visibility nearly gone. Below them, the fire faded into a distant glow. Ahead, nothing but mountains and survival. But the sound came again. Engines, closer this time. Tess twisted, panic surging as headlights cut through the storm behind them, multiple snowmobiles gaining fast. "They're still coming!" she shouted. Hudson pushed the throttle harder, the machine whining as it fought the steep incline. "Hold on!" A gunshot cracked. Snow burst beside them, then another. "They're going to catch us!" Hudson didn't answer. One hand left the handlebar just long enough to pull a small device from his jacket, a blinking transmitter. He pressed it. "Insurance," he said. For a split second, nothing changed. Then, a deep, rhythmic thudding rolled through the sky. Tess looked up. Lights pierced the storm. A helicopter descended through the whiteout, wind from its blades tearing across the mountain. "Hudson!" "I see it." The summit broke ahead, a wide clearing at the peak. Hudson drove straight for it, the snowmobile bursting into the open just as the helicopter dropped lower. FBI. The snowmobile skidded hard as Hudson brought it to a stop. Agents leaned out, weapons ready. "Move!" one of them shouted. Hudson pulled Tess off the machine, shielding her as they ran toward the helicopter. Behind them, Jordan's men exploded out of the tree line. Gunfire erupted. Sharp, violent. Agents returned fire with precision, forcing the men to drop their weapons one by one under overwhelming force. "On your knees!" Voices thundered through the storm. Tess stumbled as Hudson pulled her forward, the door slammed shut. Outside, the last of Jordan's men were forced into the snow, weapons kicked away, hands bound. The helicopter lifted, rising through the storm. Tess's chest heaved as she looked down. The mountain shrank beneath them, flashing lights, agents moving, figures being taken into custody. "It's over," she whispered. Hudson didn't answer right away. His eyes scanned the mountain one last time. Then he exhaled. "Yeah," he said quietly. "It's over." Tess leaned into him, her body finally giving in to the adrenaline crashing out of her system. Safe. For the first time since this began, truly safe. The storm swallowed the mountain below as the helicopter climbed higher, carrying them away from the fire, the violence, and everything they'd just survived. Jordan was arrested. His men were in custody, and whatever nightmare he built ended. Thank you for watching The Frozen Witness, brought to you by Kiss of Suspense. written by Violet Darkmore. If you like this story, don't forget to like and subscribe.